So I'm, yay! Thanks for spending our Sunday with us. Thank you for attending. This is my final DMA conducting recital called Growth. Before we get started though, we would like to begin by acknowledging that the University of Nebraska is a land-grant institution with campuses and programs on the past, present, and future homelands of the Pawnee, Ponca, Ata Missouri, Omaha, Dakota, Lakota, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Kaw peoples, as well as the relocated Ho-Chunk, Iowa, and Sac and Fox peoples. Please take a moment to consider the legacies of more than 150 years of displacement, violence, settlement, and survival that bring us together here today. At the University of Nebraska, we respect and seek out inclusion of differences, realizing we can learn from each other, and we look forward to building long-lasting relationships with the indigenous people of Nebraska. That land acknowledgement was written by Chuck Hibbard, Nebraska Extension Emeritus. So thank you again for attending. So like I said, this is my final conducting recital. We're going to dive right in, but I do have to say that there is a very unique aspect to this program here. 7 of the 8 pieces will actually be accompanied by a solo color guard performer, kind of like a unique concerto performance, if you will. So our first soloist is going to be Nikki. And don't worry for people over here, I measured stuff. I've definitely measured. So our first piece for you today is David Maslanka's Mother Earth. Maslanka is one of my favorite composers of all time, and he's really one of the reasons why I got into music in the first place. I remember performing his 4th symphony during my undergrad, and I was like, this is cool. This is neat. Anyway, let's get this program started with David Maslanka's Mother Earth. It's always fun to start loud and proud. Yay. Okay. So our next piece is by Viet Quang, Diamond Tide. It's fascinating. I should find this article. So he ended up finding an article, just kind of like out of the blue. And it was talking about, and I want to make sure that it was talking about Neptune. So on Neptune, scientists discovered that there are these oceans of liquid diamond. And within those oceans are just shards of diamonds as well. And he found that fascinating. So he wrote Diamond Tide specifically about that article. Now, for me, I've always had a fascination with space and time. Last year, I was obsessed with the multiverse. Yeah. I won't get into that now. But I've always had a fascination with space, and it's just really cool. Like, you don't know what's out there, and just thinking about like if other life is out there is just really fascinating. So I hope you enjoy. Our next soloist is Patty. This is Diamond Tide. So as I said, Addie performed for us on the first movement. That was Savannah performing on the second movement for us of Diamond. As we move forward, Joanne Harris is the composer of our next piece here. And this is actually the second piece I've conducted of hers in the past 2 years, which is tells you that I enjoy her music. She's also the nicest person. I chose this one in particular was because coming from New England, specifically New Hampshire, the coastline is dominated by lighthouses. My parents and I would go to Cape Cod specifically, and we would do tours of all the lighthouses on Cape Cod. If you haven't been to Cape Cod, definitely go. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But I chose this piece as kind of like an homage to those lighthouses that we used to visit. And yeah, our soloist is here. So this is Joanne Harris's The Lighthouse. it hot in here or is it just me? Okay, good. Our next piece is quite special to me. It was composed by Michael Anacarica. And this is the Nebraska premiere. Mike, as we call him, was a former composition professor and theory professor and ear training professor, and just overall great mentor, friend. He taught me at the University of New Hampshire, both at my undergrad and my master's. And he's just a fantastic person. He retired a few years ago, and UNH held a this kind of send-off concert in his honor, and it was I can't say enough good things about him. We ended up doing a recording of all of his wind band pieces while I was at UNH. And he writes some great music. If you have Spotify or Apple Music, definitely look him up. I know his last name is kind of like a nightmare to spell, but it's fantastic. And he's such a great guy. He actually helped me get into this program. While I was here, him and I would Zoom in while I was sitting in the mill at the Telegraph, and he would give me melodic dictations through Zoom, and I was trying my best to hear him. But he helped me pass my diagnostic exams and all that stuff. So I owe it to him for all of his help. So this is Chelmsford Commons by Michael Anacarica. Oh yeah, and our soloist, sorry. Performing for the first movement here is Carson. Nikki, Alyssa, and Carly as our conductor soloists there. As we move to our next piece by Jennifer Higdon, we don't have a conductor soloist for this one, but that is okay. I chose this one, and not to bring it up again, but during the shutdown of the entire world during COVID-19, I started having some mental health issues, we'll put it at that. And I was struggling with my career, if I wanted to actually do this in my life, and really doubting myself. So it was in April of 2020 when I started my meditation practice. And Mysterium by Jennifer Higdon, I think, does a pretty good job of making that meditative practice as a kind of like an oral experience. This is Jennifer Higdon's Mysterium. So our next piece is a world premiere, and it's very close to me because I wrote it. So this is my chorale and dance. I actually started writing it with Mike back in New Hampshire. I just finished a commission writing Shooting Stars for the Pittsfield High School concert band, and I was kind of stuck. I was kind of having like writer's block, and I didn't really know what to write about. So Mike gave me the challenge of, why don't you write about nothing? Like, all right. During this time, I was actually working on my thesis too about Aaron Copland and Roy Harris and William Schumann, thinking about like discussing their symphony number 3s and all that stuff. And I'm a big fan of Copland, as anyone should be. But I guess his compositional voice kind of like leaked into my subconscious. So I'm writing a melody that is very Copland-esque, and I decided to run with it. So yeah. So this is chorale and dance, and Carson is our soloist. So our next piece is by Frank Kelly. It's called Postcard. And from what I understand, there are props to this. Okay. So I kind of, as I was kind of like transitioning into Nebraska life, I had a kind of like I ended up getting drinks with my UNH professors back in New Hampshire. And many of them are from the Midwest. Actually, one of my mentors, Andrew Boysen, went to the University of Iowa. I guess they have bad corn there. Anyway, so he graduated from the University of Iowa. And Nate Jorgensen, he graduated from UMKC. Now, they had told me that life in New England is very much different in the life in the Midwest. It is. It was definitely a culture shift for me. I remember my first week here, my parents and I ended up going to Home Goods and just, furnishing my apartment and all that stuff. And this random woman walks up and starts having a conversation with us, and we're like, we don't know you. And she ended up talking to us for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm sorry, we have to go. So they're very nice and very friendly. But it was definitely a culture shift for me. And with this particular piece, it's kind of reminiscent of that culture shift. And also the various missteps that I've taken in my program here at UNL. There are many. Anyway, it's a very fast pace here in this program, but I could not be happier being here. So this is Frank Kelly's Postcard. Hey, I'm from there. Sorry. Our last piece for you, this afternoon. This last piece for you is by Dmitri Shostakovich, and it is from his, if I can get the score out here. And it is from his comedic operetta, Moscow. I'm going to mispronounce this, Chernushki. I don't know if that's right. But Shostakovich is one of my favorite composers. And I remember doing when I was in high school, bless you. When I was in high school, I did a paper, and it was a music appreciation course. And I had to write about a composer of my choosing, and I just kind of stumbled upon Dmitri Shostakovich, and I was like, sure. Doing more research about him, he wasn't a big fan of the government. And I'm like, that's cool. So I kind of like latched towards that, and if you know me well enough, today I'm very, what's the word I'm looking for?
You don't like the government?
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's standing up for things that are oppressive. So I do my best to locate those oppressive forces and fight back against them. And I feel that that's where I kind of get that from Dmitri Shostakovich. And yeah, he's a cool guy. He's a cool dude. Anyway, here's Gal. With grace, as I told you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that is here. And I want to also thank my committee, Dr. Carolyn Barber, Dr. Tyler White, who cannot be here, Dr. Stanley Kleppinger, and Dr. Lori Dance, who is unable to attend as well. And that's our show. Have a good rest of your